In today's video, I'm talking to Belle, who has very kindly agreed to chat to me about how she went from being an English graduate to a primary tutor. If you're new to this channel, my name's Jenna. I'm a qualified primary school teacher now, full-time tutor who chats to people about their experiences in education. If you like today's video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a supportive comment down below. Thank you very much for joining me.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Right, so I know you from Facebook, obviously, and we've chatted on different posts and different things like that, but this is the first time we've actually spoken together, which is lovely, and I've been really looking forward to chatting to
Yeah,
you because
me
you've had
too.
lots of positive reviews on your Facebook. Everyone
Oh,
loves you, which is lovely to see. So the first question is, so we'll start at the beginning. Tell me about your background in education. You are an English literature graduate. Why did you want to study English initially?
So I've always loved reading from a young age. Used to read constantly, and even when it was time for bed, a time to go and have my dinner, I just couldn't stop reading. Used to love writing as well. So I used to write pages and pages of stories and diary entries, just could keep going forever. So English was always my favorite subject. I went on to do my English literature A level, which I absolutely loved. I had two very inspirational teachers, and they just made the subject come even more to life for me. And I just really loved learning about different authors and how their lives impacted their writing. So I thought English literature was the subject for me for university.
Oh, that's lovely. And then you went on to complete a PGCE in education. How did you find it?
So that was very intense. It was about a 10 months course, and there was a lot of information to learn, but it was really interesting. And I think the way this course was actually structured was a good mixture of practical, a lot of theory as well. And it was really lovely actually with the teaching placements, because I felt like, although it was a bit like being thrown in the deep end, you just really picked up so much, and there's nothing quite like putting everything into practice.
Lovely. And so what would you say the big positives were of the PGC? Obviously, you've mentioned a few, but what was the main positive? And was there anything negative wise that you weren't keen on while you were doing it?
I think I just found it really interesting learning about all the different teaching practices, learning from the tutors that were there who had been in teaching themselves. So there was lots of information, a lot of personal experiences that they kind of brought as well to the PGC, which was great. In terms of negatives, I think because you can't pick your teaching placement. So my final one was actually an hour away by train,
Oh,
and that was exhausting. Yeah. So every day having to go in from East London to North London, and then coming back home, having planning to do, marking, assessments, displays. It was quite a lot to fit in. But I did have this amazing year one class who were so
oh.
wonderful, and they were just really lovely and just really keen to learn. I think that really kind of made up for the traveling, because they were just lovely. But I think also it kind of confirmed for me I didn't want to travel far away. When I got my final kind of teaching position, I didn't want to travel far by train, definitely. So that was quite helpful to know.
Oh, that's good. I think like you, I've done schools that are like an hour away or something, and it takes a massive toll on your well-being sometimes because, like you say, you've got so much to do. It's really hard, and I do think they should mention that more with trainee teachers when they're looking for a job. As much as they want a job, is the extra travel time worth it? Possibly. I
Definitely,
don't know,
definitely.
really.
I mean, my first two placements were very local, which was brilliant. But I think the final one, a lot of people did have placements which were really far away, and it was a bit of a struggle. So that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah. So how was your time in the classroom? What did you teach, including subjects and year groups?
So I actually started as a supply teacher. So I
Oh,
kind of found,
wow.
yeah, a bit nerve-wracking initially, but I think I just went for it. And it was really nice to kind of find out about different schools and different kinds of teaching styles as well that I came across. That was all really helpful, I found. And then I got my teaching position from supply teaching in year one again, which was lovely because I had already done that for my teaching placement. And it was a really lovely school. It's two form entry. And again, I just found that year group, year one, it was just so lovely and very affectionate, and they were just really keen to learn, which is lovely. So in that school, it was mainly Key Stage 1, and then I did also do year 4 as well. And then I moved on to Berkshire from East London because I got married, and then I moved to a whole new place in 2011. And then I went back to supply teaching again because I just felt comfortable kind of schools were around before committing to one particular school. And then again, through that, I got my final kind of teaching full-time job. That was in year 6 this time. So I'd gone from year 1 all the way to year 6. And again, that was really interesting. It was a job share. And then I was working in different year groups alongside year 6 as well. That was really interesting. And then it was mainly Key Stage 2 in that school. So I did year 4, year 5, and year 6. And then I went to another school, which was again year 5, but then I left for maternity leave at that point. And so I think in terms of supply teaching, I'd actually taught all the way from nursery up until year 8. So I've even done a little bit of year 7, year 8 as well, Key Stage 3.
Oh, wow. So which years do you prefer, or do you like a mixture of all?
So I don't mind the mixture, but I think I definitely prefer the older children, sort of
Okay.
year 4, year 5. Yeah.
And why is that? What about the older ones do you prefer?
I think they're not as dependent on you, and they're just more independent in terms of getting things done. And then you can kind of really have that fun, kind of sarcastic banter with them. They really understand, I think, as well. And you can kind of have that kind of, yeah, that kind of relationship with them, which is quite lovely as well.
Oh, that's lovely. And it's really interesting you say about supply, because in a way, I do think people do need to try supply before they settle down at a school. Because if you end up in a school that is not nice, and we know there are many that people are struggling at the moment,
Yeah.
it's very hard to get out if you're in a school that is not right for you. So I think supply is amazing for that, and it shows you I like this, I don't like this. This works for me, doesn't work for me. So it's amazing that you just had the confidence just to I'll try supply and see what it's like initially.
Yeah.
Did it
Thank
guide
you. I
you
think
to what you wanted and what you didn't want, do you think?
that's really interesting. I think it did in a way, because I loved actually being in the classroom with the children and marking obviously what I taught. But I think the rest of the additional things were what were quite stressful at times. So I thought to myself, I want to do the thing that I love the most, and that's actually just being with the children and not having to do all the other extra bits sometimes which didn't actually impact children or their learning. So yeah, I think, and I love the flexibility as well, to be honest. It was great some days being able to choose, which days I wanted to do.
And then what eventually made you decide to leave?
When I had my first baby, so in 2015, I had my eldest, who's now 8, and I did go back part-time when she turned 1, but it was a real struggle. And I just feel like there wasn't much support as well from the school
Wow.
at that time. Yeah, it was year 6, so I know it was a very stressful, obviously really important year. Um, but it was just really hard juggling all the workload, all the pressures of year 6 and SATs, and then also being a mum as well at the same time. I think it's really difficult having to balance both of those. And my baby wasn't sleeping at night, so I was just really sleep deprived, having to think about my marking, planning, and all the rest of that as well. And then going back in the morning to teach. I think it was really a lot. So I just wanted again to go back to that flexibility, and which is why I did actually go back into supply
Mm.
after I'd been at that school for a few months. I thought this isn't really right, and I needed to could just get that flexibility back again.
Were you full-time in year 6?
I went back part-time after
Oh,
my baby.
part-time, sorry, I missed that.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
part-time.
Yeah, because it's year 6 is so stressful. It's so there's like you say, there's so much expected of you and of the children. And everything's about the SATs results, which is a shame.
Yes,
The whole
exactly. And
school
the class,
depends on that.
absolutely, the class itself as well, there were quite a lot of issues going on as well, a lot of friendship issues, a lot of other extra things happening as well, which was again difficult to deal with as well.
Mm. Right. So then when did you initially hear about tutoring?
So I'd always known about tutoring, and when I got my first full-time job in year 1 back in East London, I actually worked in a tuition centre.
Oh.
So I was working with small groups there on a weekend. Yes, every Saturday, so I'd work there. I think it was for a few hours working with small groups. So I had a bit of a insight into tutoring at that time. And then when I moved to Berkshire, I had a few parents contacting me, just asking if I could tutor their children. And because I'd done it previously, I thought I'd love to do that. And I really, really, really enjoyed that one-to-one relationship with the children.
And how did you find going from a class of 30 to 1 at time?
it was a little bit strange at first because I thought it's just me and another child. So it did feel a
Mm.
little bit strange, but it was really lovely as well because the focus was all on the child and seeing that progress so quickly. I think that was what was just really wonderful about it.
And when parents were contacting you, was that on your own as a tutor, or was that as part of the agency?
No, that
Or
was just me
because you moved
personally.
and then they contact you, is that right?
Yes, that was just through the school I was teaching at. So the parents of the
Oh.
students I had currently that I was teaching, yeah, so they just kind of approached me and some other parents from the same school. They just kind of asked me if I could tutor the child.
Oh wow, that and how did you find that on top of your schoolwork?
I think that would impact obviously my full-time teaching. So I just think at that time I only had maybe one or two. And that was quite manageable because it was just like an hour per child. So it wasn't that much more on top of the school workload.
Oh, that's okay then, because a lot of
Yeah.
teachers, and it's a little bit sad really, a lot of them are doing tutoring on the side because of finances really. They can't cope just on a teaching wage, which is
Yeah.
they're taking on a lot, like they don't finish till 7:30 or 8 at night. So that's a lot of work on top of
That's,
teaching as well.
yeah,
It's
that is
really,
quite tough,
really
isn't it?
hard. But
Yeah.
so then, what made you finally just do become a tutor?
Yeah. So this was in 2020. So I had my second baby at this
Ooh,
point, and
2020, special
and,
year, certain year.
and it was lockdown, as we all know. And it wasn't, yeah, like you said, it was a really crazy time, wasn't it? And I had to also homeschool my eldest. And then I just realized that I wouldn't really have that kind of work-life balance at all if I did go back into a full-time, even a part-time job. Because even part-time, when I did that, I found I was working so many extra hours and I was having to go in on the days when I should have been at home. So there were so many extra things I had to still keep doing as part-time. And I just thought I wanted to spend time with my children and just have that flexibility that I had as a supply teacher and just enjoy those early moments as well, not having to worry about work.
Did your children notice a difference between you working in permanent roles and supply roles? Like, not necessarily saying, oh, maybe not necessarily saying something, but did you notice how they reacted to you maybe in different, because obviously full time is so intense and you've got so much to do. I imagine it takes a big toll in on your family life then when you come home compared to like supply. If you're doing daily supply, you don't have anything to do when you get home necessarily. So did you notice any difference?
I think I just felt more energetic. I had more energy. I felt
Oh
happier because
yeah.
I didn't have to bring that, like you said, the extra work home when I was doing the supply compared to when I had the part-time role or the full-time role, just bringing lots and lots of work home. And I just felt really guilty as well when I'd have my little ones, running around or on contention and then having this pile of books just staring at me. I think
Mm,
it's that guilt, isn't it? Trying to find that balance. But like I mentioned, I don't think that balance is possible when you've got quite a young family and then you've
mm,
got all these extra, things to do, have extra things to worry about deadlines or about assemblies or, planning and all the rest of that. It's like a big weight off your shoulders, I think.
A lot of tutors that I've spoken to, I think the turning point was when they had children, because before
Yeah,
children, it's not that you're okay with like spending a lot of your own personal hours, but you don't have that commitment really. And then
exactly.
obviously your children are your priority. And you think,
Yeah,
well, how long can I keep giving hours to this job? Which at the end of the day is only paperwork. Like,
that's it.
like I imagine like you might be the same as me, but the amount of paperwork you used to obsess over, and it means
Yeah.
nothing now years later. Absolutely nothing at
Exactly.
all.
And I found there's just always so many different initiatives that were always being brought in or new things constantly. And they weren't always for the benefit of the children, but you had to kind of jump through these hoops all the time. And rather than spending that time on the children or doing something that would actually help them with their progression and so on, it wasn't always about that, sadly. And that these are some of the changes that I've kind of noticed over the years, unfortunately.
Mm. So, what was your tutoring business like in the beginning then when you decided, right, I'm going to do this now?
So it was mainly just face to face and one-to-one tutoring. And it was a lot just through word of mouth. So I'd had a few students initially, and then parents would just let other parents know. And I didn't really advertise at that point because I had enough students, and I didn't want to do too many because I had my little ones anyway, and I kind of had the supply teaching alongside that as well. So I thought it worked quite well at that point. And it was just mainly one-to-one, but I did have a few sessions where I taught siblings. So two were kind of like paired kind of sessions.
And which one do you like better, or do you just like the mixture?
I think I just really like the mixture, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
an
a bit of
interesting vibe
everything.
when you've got more than one and it's in a smaller setting. So it's quite interesting. And so what is your tutoring business like now? So what year would you have started your business?
So with the tutoring, it's quite funny because I didn't really consider it a business when I started first
Oh,
tutoring.
okay.
Yeah, it was just more kind of alongside the supply teaching. So I'd kind of do supply a few days a week, and the tutoring was just I'd kind of slot that in the week, and then a little bit on the weekend as well. But last year is when I really decided to kind of grow and expand the business. And I thought I'm going to kind of make myself more visible, have the Facebook page, share more of what I'm doing, and perhaps start advertising myself, which I hadn't done previously. So all those years I hadn't needed to do any of that. So I think with that, now I'm offering group sessions as well as the one-to-one, one face-to-face, but it's also online. So it's a mixture. It's quite a hybrid model. So
Would you say you are more online or more face to face or equal?
I think it's more or less equal at the moment.
And do you go to children's homes or do they come to you?
So again, I've got a bit of a mixture. So that I've got some clients I've had for quite a lot of years where I travel to them. And then recently I've had quite a few coming to me as well.
Oh, and how do you find that?
I really like the mixture. So like we mentioned, having a bit of everything, because I quite like the variety. I think it keeps things really interesting. And I'm always learning kind of new techniques and new things, like with online or with the face-to-face. I'm picking up quite a few different things that I adapt. So from the online, I'll do it face-to-face or face-to-face to online and vice versa. So kind of like I like kind of mix and matching.
That's good actually, because I started off one to one, and you
Oh,
do look for that because I think teaching is so full on and you are constantly challenged on a daily basis with so many different tasks. And then to step away from that, I was talking to someone else about it, and we were like, because a lot of teachers I notice when they step away from teaching, they don't know how to fill their time. And it's
yes.
can be very, if you're constantly on the go and then you go to normal life and it's not as well, obviously depending on your life, but it's not as intense as the job was. You can think, well, what's wrong with me? Why can't I? And often teachers go back because they don't know how to fill their time, and they end up in that kind of cycle of feeling constantly overwhelmed because they don't know how to live or how to do a job that isn't as intense as teaching. Are also a certified TEFL teacher. When did you decide to complete this training? And is it something you did as a tutor, or what made you decide to do this, basically?
So that was in 2020. So that crazy year when
Oh,
everything was
okay.
happening. I'd had the baby, it was lockdown. I was homeschooling my eldest as well. And I'd always wanted to teach abroad. That's something I haven't done, and I do want to do that in the future. So I thought at that time, to have a bit of time out for myself, I'm going to study and just do something that, that's going to be helping me for the future with the teaching abroad. So I thought I'd do the TEFL course online. And that was my kind of little bit of time away from the kids, from family, from everything, where I could just switch off, go onto my laptop and just do the studying. So yeah, that was 2020.
And how was that structured? Like, what sort of things did you have to do on it?
To be honest, it was really quite straightforward and quite basic because I'd already done the PGCE and the English literature degree, and then also taught for many years. It was all very kind of straightforward, things that we as teachers would already know. And a lot of the grammar, a lot of the things we would know as well because we've taught it. So it was quite straightforward. It wasn't anything too complex.
Yeah, because some agencies that you work that are international, they want that. They want that it's not a degree, sorry, that certificate. And then
Yes.
some of them will just accept your teaching qualification. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but I've always been intrigued because I've known other people that have done it as well, and they've had mixed reviews on it. But it's nice that you've got that future goal What type, where do you think you'd want to teach, or do you not think about that? It's just the idea of teaching abroad.
Well, I'd be happy to go anywhere really, but I did want to go to Thailand many years ago.
Oh,
It didn't materialize. Yeah, but I think somewhere like Thailand, maybe the Far East, or South America, maybe. Yeah.
oh, that'll be really, I hope you get to
Yeah.
do it. That'll be lovely.
Hopefully.
Fingers
Yeah, maybe
crossed.
take the kids with me. So yeah.
What has surprised you the most about tutoring?
Oh, wow. So with the tutoring, I think it's just amazing with how many options are available to tutor now. I think when I first started, it was very kind of traditional, face to face and one to one. But now there's just so many ways of kind of tutoring. With the online world is just amazing with the international market as well. You know, in terms of the home education market, alternative provision. I've only just found out about this actually as well. And just the fact that you can really do what you really enjoy. You take bits of what you really enjoy and you can kind of make into a business that works around you and your lifestyle. And if you have other commitments, again, you can make sure it works around that. So I think there's so many different opportunities available now that I don't think perhaps weren't there back in when I first started.
I think 2020 changed a lot of things.
Yes.
Everyone was used to a 9 to 5. Like I didn't even know about home education. I've spoken about this to other people, and they didn't appear to know about it either. Like I just saw every child went to school, and that was it. Everyone did a 9 to 5, and then lockdown hit, and then it was like there were obviously was home education prior to this, but then obviously it exploded because of lockdown and everything happening. And so there are so many opportunities now. And it's interesting you saying that you can fit things around your life essentially. Whereas in teaching, everything was around the job, trying to get everything, the job, that kind of thing. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
which is interesting when you used to putting the job first.
Absolutely. And I think, like you said, just even things like for me, fitting in like school pickups, the drop-offs, I can attend things during the day.
That's really nice, actually, that you can be there for so many different aspects of your children's life. It's lovely that you can be there as well as do what you're passionate about, which is really nice. What have you found that's the most challenging? Has there anything that you didn't think of and has been something, for example, you obviously said word of mouth, that's how you got your clients before. Have you how have you found the move to like social media? Has that been stressful or have you quite enjoyed it? What?
Think I'm definitely enjoying it a lot more now, but initially there's that fear of putting yourself out there, I think.
Mm,
And with my Facebook page, actually, I did try and launch that a few years ago. I think it must have been around 2019. And I just didn't really post anything on there. I think I was just quite fearful of kind of what others would say, or I wasn't quite sure what to put out there as well. But then I think when I decided to kind of really make a go of the tuition and really go for it, that's when I said to myself, with the Facebook page, it was already there. I'd created in 2019, I think, around that time. And I thought now I'm going to actually start posting on there. Had to kind of be quite brave and just put things on there and just see how it went. I think there's that fear, isn't it, as well, of oh, what will other people think, or people won't read my posts, or they won't like them, they won't engage with them. So there's always all these different kind of things going in your head. But I thought if I'm going to expand things, I want to kind of grow the business, I'm going to have to do those things. There's no two ways about it. You have to kind of put yourself out there. The more I've done it, the more I'm really enjoying it now. And just connecting with lots of different people and other tutors, other clients, and just generally talking to other people. I think it's just been really lovely.
that's good. Yeah, it can be scary when you first go online. I think it's vital that you show your face online because essentially at the end of the day you are working with children, and I do find it worrying when people advertise and they want to work with children in a certain capacity and they're faceless, and in some
Yeah,
cases they don't even put their proper name. And I'm not
yes,
a parent myself, but if I saw an adult advertising and they didn't even show their face, I'd be a bit concerned personally. I'd want to see who my child is working with. But so you do have to kind of, for the safeguarding aspect as
definitely.
well, you do have to put yourself out there and show people this is who I am. Obviously, you don't have to reveal everything, but yeah, especially if you want your business to be
Yeah.
full time. It's really good to get your face out there, and because I found, opportunities come to you that you wouldn't even think of. Have you had that?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely. It's so true. And then you mentioned about not having the face, and I think there isn't any trust there as well. Then if you don't know what somebody looks like, you can't
Mhm.
actually, you've got literally no idea, male, female, just nothing. And there's just that kind of anxiety, isn't it, almost as well? There's no
Yeah.
trust there. You don't know who it is, what it is, just how you have no idea. So I think that's really important, definitely. But the opportunities, yeah, I think so. Things that you don't imagine, or coming across certain people you wouldn't normally come across. I think it's just lovely. But I think the other thing as well, you mentioned about the challenging things. I think I do find it hard to switch off. I think a lot of the tutors have said this as well. We can all relate to that, your teachers. I think, do you know what? There's just so many ideas all the time. You're
Yeah,
constantly thinking, and that stems back from being in the classroom, like you just said, because
yeah,
you're going 100 miles an hour, thinking about so many things at the same time, always planning ahead, and so it's just really hard to kind of switch off and not think about work-related things. And yeah, just taking a bit of a breather sometimes is quite hard.
yeah, it is. I think in teaching, depending on what school, even if you're in a good school, there is that pressure to do, you want to do a good job for the children that you're working with, 30 children, and not all the children you teach have the best home life. So that can get stuck in your mind that you want to do the best for those children. But it's just endless. Like I used to think I'd go in for 3 jobs. Like today I've got to get these 3 jobs done. By the time I got to
Mm.
lunchtime, it was like 10 other jobs have been given to me.
Yeah,
And your brain can
absolutely.
only hold on to so much. But then when you step away from that and you're running your own business, it's like you have to seek. It's not like you can't just shut off and stop.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Oh,
so true, isn't it? I think
oh,
our brains just have so many ideas all the time, and we just want to
yeah.
get so much done in the day. There's only a certain number of hours as well. So yeah, it's it's a
I
funny little
always find when
cycle.
you're relaxing as well, and your brain's like, oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do this. I'm like, no, stop. Just stop thinking of stuff to do.
Yeah, I totally can relate to that.
Oh dear. Now, if there was a new tutor starting out, what advice would you give them?
Okay, so about a year ago, this is one piece of advice that I was given, and I thought it was just really, really helpful, is that do something small for your business every day. So whether that's maybe starting a Facebook page, thinking about your posts, doing some research. So as long as you're doing something small every day, all the little things will kind of help you, sort of just get to your bigger goals as well. I think we spoke about this earlier as well. It's just about making yourself visible. And as scary as it is, just to try and put yourself out there and try and push yourself out of your comfort zone, I think, as well, a little bit, because no one's going to do that for you. You have to really just encourage yourself and like just make yourself visible. And if it's just a little bit at a time, then that's great. But it's really important, especially just to get yourself known and to build that trust, I think, as well with others, and especially with clients, potential clients and parents. That's really important. Reaching out to the tutoring community, who are absolutely amazing, by the way. Really, really, so much information, experience, expertise out there. And everyone is just really welcoming, really supportive, always there with lots of advice and help. So there's lots of groups as well that you can definitely join, and you can ask your questions in there and just get some of that reassurance from others who've also been there, but who are happy to kind of give some advice and support as well.
Ah, I like the what you said about the little bit every day, because there are so many big jobs to do, and it is more manageable that those little bits. So I really like that. That's really lovely, actually. It's really helpful,
Yeah,
actually, because then you're still making progress, but you're not overwhelmed by the big jobs, which is lovely. That's
absolutely.
really nice. So
Thank you.
we're at the end of our interview. What do you currently offer, and where can people find you?
So currently I'm offering one-to-one and face-to-face sessions. That's for maths and English, 11 plus, and also for independent school entrance exams. I'm also offering online group sessions for creative writing and year 6 SATs, We have 2 more sessions left, so if anybody would like to come and join us, you're more than welcome. We'd love to have you. I've also just started some daytime sessions, which have been quite popular. So I'm hoping to offer some more of those in the coming weeks as well.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you because we've known each other kind of through the world
Oh,
of Facebook. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
oh, it's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If you liked today's video, make
Thank
sure to
you.
give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see who else I'm chatting to. Thanks for watching.